We're back to Authors Corner on the Total Education Network. Again, TotalTutor.net for more information. Twitter, Total Tutor, Neil S. Haley, Facebook, LinkedIn, Neil Haley. And I'm so excited to welcome the program author Alan Mindell. He is the author of The Closer. Alan, thanks for calling, and welcome to Authors Corner.
Neil, thank you very much for having me. Very much appreciate the opportunity.
Absolutely. And I think that your background is an important thing to get to before we get to the book, The Closer, because it shows that you are interested in sports and you enjoy sports for sure.
Absolutely. In fact, I competed in the Senior Olympics recently in the San Diego area. In fact, I've competed during the last 3 years and actually won 4 gold medals last year. During 2012 as a sprinter, Neil.
Oh, wow. How old are you, by the way, Alan?
I am 72 years of age, and how I got involved with the Senior Olympics is when I turned 70, I figured maybe I could compete, not embarrass myself with those old guys. And it turns out that that's the way it occurred. So, and then I decided to get in shape, and so that's when I won the 4 gold medals in 2012.
Well, congratulations, for sure. And I never heard of the Senior Olympics, so you're educating me in that sports end. And so you have a sports background, and so you decided to write a sports book. And I find this absolutely interesting to talk about the knuckleball. The knuckleball, as I remember, I think growing up in the 80s and early 90s or 70s and 80s was a very popular pitch. I think it was, I'm trying to remember who the great knuckleball pitchers of those days were. Do you remember?
The Negro brothers.
Yes.
Actually.
Yeah.
They were terrific. And I think the original knuckleballer that was great was Hoyt Wilhelm. And I'm dating myself, Neil. That's way back, probably in I would guess, the 50s, the 60s.
Definitely. Yeah. It's an interesting thing when you talk about the knuckleball and talking about the two, how good they were, and I kind of like to emulate them when I was playing wiffle ball. Well, that's dating me in a way. So tell me a bit about The Closer, the main character and all that stuff, and for our listeners.
The Closer is about a 33-year-old career minor league knuckleballing relief pitcher who finally gets his chance at the majors, then makes an immediate impact both on the mound and with a family in distress. And you're speaking of the knuckleball. Actually, that's how I was able to get 2 publishers interested. This is not a self-published work. This is, and I spent 15 years, Neil, trying to get this published.
Oh, wow,
What it took was R.A. Dickey's success, in my opinion, his success as a knuckleball pitcher for the New York Mets in 2012. He won the Cy Young Award, and he was the first knuckleball pitcher to win the Cy Young Award. And therefore, there was interest in the knuckleball and in my novel. And the rest, as they say, is history.
See, I didn't even know who R.A. Dickey is, so that's how much I guess the Pirates just are back in baseball, so I considered we didn't have a baseball team till this year.
The Pirates certainly had a great year. There's no question about that. And Dickey, you probably wouldn't have heard much about him because he didn't become prominent until he was in his late 30s. So I think he was 37 or 38 when he did win the Cy Young. So
interesting.
That's how that came about, in my opinion. And the novel's done really well. I'm very pleasantly surprised by how it's done. It's actually been on 4 of Amazon bestseller categories in sports fiction.
Oh, congratulations. That must be fantastic for sure. And, sports is just something, especially when we talk about baseball as national pastime that it is, people really flock to that idea. And I think the knuckleball and the secret of it is just, it's fascinating, isn't it?
I think it is. And in fact, I did some research to see exactly how it is thrown and what it does, and it almost defies the gravity. And it's a very unique pitch in the sense that very, very few pitchers can master it. the number of pitchers over the years has been, less than a dozen that have really been able to master it and be real successful at the major league level.
Was Tim Wakefield a knuckleball pitcher?
He was. You have a good
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's
and interestingly, Neil, my hero is because he's a career minor leaguer. He's very, very upset about the fact that they won't give him a shot. And one of the reasons they won't give him a shot is because he's a knuckleball pitcher. And a lot of pitching coaches don't like that because the pitch is a little bit hard to control, and so on. But what he was miffed about is that knuckleball pitchers typically eat up a lot of innings, certainly as starters. Tim Wakefield, you mentioned him. He was sensational for the Boston Red Sox. In fact, he pitched into his 40s.
He did, and he started with the Pirates as a big surprise.
Oh, yes, I remember now, yes.
Oh, yeah, he was the last time the Pirates were good was Wakefield till now. Yeah. So
you do have a good memory.
Well, sports, it's kind of funny. It's been a blur since I've had children, and now, because I'm interviewing sports authors a lot, I'm back listening to sports radio a lot again, because and I get all these celebrities on my show all the time. I was about to say, we got to get some knuckleballers on the show for sure, and then have Alan talk about it. So, Alan, basically, this guy is mad because, he's not getting his shot at the big time because he decides to pitch because, again, a knuckleball could be the most dangerous pitch to hit, or it could be the easiest to just hit home run after home run after home run.
Right.
And explain that, yeah.
And he's suffering in the minor leagues because his team doesn't seem to want to. Terry's suffering in the minor leagues because his team doesn't want to. They don't like the idea of a knuckleball, and so and plus he's disheartened because of the fact that he thought this was the time he was going to make the majors, and he didn't. It turns out that his former pitching coach in the novel, gets promoted to the major leagues as a manager. His former pitcher coach actually taught him the knuckleball and thought that Terry would do well in the majors, and so he suggests a trade for Terry, and they get back together again, and Rick, the manager, works with him a little bit, and then Terry eventually becomes the closer. And of course, the closer is a late inning relief pitcher who nails down on the win.
And Alan, again. Do you think the interest? What do you think with your readers, especially with the success of the book? Would you say it's because it's a baseball book, or is it because he's a knuckleball pitcher, or is it a story of people that never get their break, and they all have lived this in their lives in some sort of way, where there's a wall keeping them from their success?
I think that it's all of the above, plus the fact that it's a very heartwarming love story. And in fact, Neil, and maybe I'm a little bit embarrassed to say this, but I think women have a tendency to like the book equally or more than men because the love story is very interesting and touching, and the fact that baseball, they feel as though they learn a lot about the game without it being tedious, without it being too technical for them. So I would say that's a positive factor as well, in addition to what you mentioned.
And all of the above, for sure. And when you first published the book, got the book published, did you think you'd have this success?
No, I did not. I really didn't. At a certain point, because it's taken me 15 years to finally get published, because I did decline to self-publish. In fact, coincidentally, it took me the same amount of time to get this book published as it's taken Terry to make the majors, and so there's kind of a correlation between our stories. But no, I really didn't think that it would have this kind of success. What the reason is, I can't say. I think the publisher, Sunbury Press, did a wonderful job with initial promotion and also a terrific job with the cover. But I really can't say. I wish I could, because I'd be delighted to produce something similar in the future, but I really can't say.
Are you hoping that maybe this could be also a movie story, because it's such a great...
I'd love it to be a movie story, and in fact, you mentioned that. The fact is that I've written a screenplay for it, and I'm sending it to among Hollywood agents now. And the book has a 5-star rating with Amazon, so it's done well from that standpoint. And a lot of people have commented what a terrific movie it would make. In fact, they're talking about it being a cross between the Clint Eastwood movie Trouble with the Curve. I don't know whether you saw that.
No, I haven't.
And you probably are aware of this one, the old classic Love Story.
Yes.
They're saying that it's a combination of those two movies, without divulging too much about the inner workings of the novel. So, but I'd love it to be and typically with my writing, Neil, what I do is I go back and forth between the screenplay and a novel. It helps me hone both, it seems.
Do you hope to write any other sports books?
Actually, I am in the final throes of writing a horse racing novel. It's called The B Team. It's about a one-eyed racehorse that ends up in the Kentucky Derby. And his biggest fan is a young boy who himself has only one-sided eye.
Oh, wow.
So, and currently I'm working on a children's version of that particular book. So, so I keep at it. I don't let my age be a deterrent. I'm a habitual writer. Maybe I'm addicted to writing.
A labor of love. You were successful as a lawyer, and you said, you know what, I want to keep doing this, and I never want to retire, it sounds like, Alan. Or this is what you wanted to do. When you retired, now you're finding out, I'm going to be successful at this, too. It's not just...
Listen, why not? Well
Exactly. And that's the thing. Your passion. I remember a commercial on TV that talks about you're working so that you could do your passion someday. Well, I'm doing my passion now, and I'm happy that that's happened to me in everything I do as an entrepreneur. So I think you're learning that working for yourself is a nice thing, and continue to work hard. So, Alan, where can we find information on you, purchase your book, and learn more about you?
Actually, it's available, of course, at Amazon. Barnes & Noble can order the book, as can any other bookstore. And Sunbury Press has the book available as well. So all of the above there. And I'm amazed at how many outlets there are to actually be able to purchase the book.
All right, well, fantastic. Great talking to you. Best of luck on the book, and I know greater success will happen, and if definitely we need to connect sometime and have you back for your next book, so we'll definitely get to talk again. So good talking to you, Alan.
I'd love to, Neil, and thank you very, very much.
You're welcome. Take care. Okay.
Good night.
Bye-bye. You're listening to Author's Corner, and we'll be back in just a moment.